Hello, thank you for joining me for the first ever Jena Colbourne show. I am so excited to be doing this show and to have you guys joining me today. So thank you so much for coming in on the premiere show. The idea behind this show is pretty simple. I wanted to do a show for women, about women. I wanted to showcase all of the amazing women in the Lakeland, the wonderful, fantastic female entrepreneurs, and also make your life a little easier by sharing some tips and tricks with you. So that's all to come on the Jena Colbourne show. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am sitting down with some really wonderful guests throughout the show, and one of the reasons I wanted to have real Lakeland ladies in our studio is to discuss those stories, those experiences that, might have some stigma behind them. It might be a little taboo. Maybe it's not very ladylike to discuss these things. Well, we are going to talk about it. We're going to break some taboo topics. We're going to break the stigma between other topics and just have some fun while doing it and sharing these experiences. I think you will find that we are more alike than we are different. And that's the goal here, is just to share those stories and open a door towards acceptance. So I'm also stopping in at some local businesses, and it's really cool because I've partnered up with Community Futures Lakeland, and this way I'm able to go pop in at a local business and do it absolutely no charge to the business. It was really important for me to be able to showcase these female entrepreneurs, and I know during these hard times we don't necessarily have any extra funds at the end of the day. So that's why I teamed up with Community Futures, so we can go inside these businesses, give them some exposure, and perhaps you'll learn something about a business that you didn't know existed here in the Lakeland. For our very first show, I had to go stop in to see Candace Ducharme at Beantrees Café in Cold Lake. So Candace and I go way back, about 5 years. I met Candace when our girls started preschool together. It's actually so cute. On the very first day of preschool, they became best friends, and they've been friends ever since. And so have Candace and I. So Candace and I have known each other for quite a while. We've been through some ups and downs together. We've had some excellent memories, some really great times. And one thing about Candace is she is my biggest cheerleader. She's always supported me in everything I've done. And I said, you know what? I gotta support you. I gotta support you in your new venture at Beantrees Café. So Candace is actually, for the last 11 years, prior to Beantrees, she was a stay-at-home mom. So I think it's just amazing. It takes an amazing amount of courage to say, hey, I'm gonna switch career paths. I'm gonna go into business for myself. I'm gonna buy Beantrees Café. So very proud of her. We're gonna be popping in, checking in on Beantrees Café, see how they're doing. And we're also every week going to be doing this really cool segment called Tips, Tricks, and Trends. So I want to showcase different ways that it can make your life easier. We're going to pop in at different Lakeland service providers, different Lakeland businesses, and just give you some tips on how to make life easier. And what's really cool about it is all of these tips, tricks, and trends you can find right here in the Lakeland. So this week we're over at Home Hardware, Bonnyville. We're popping by to see Twila, and everyone knows Twila works in the gardening department at Home Hardware, Bonnyville. So she's going to give us some gardening tips for the first-time gardener. We're going to have a lot of fun. That's really what the show is about. Having fun, getting to know each other, and making those connections. So this week, on the very first show, the very first Jena Colbourne show, we are sitting down with Ashley Jorgenson. So she has an amazing story of resilience, reconciliation, and redemption. So Ashley, previously, I would say about 6 or 7 years ago, was living the quote-unquote normal life. She was a mama 3, quiet, normal life. When things took a big change for her, Ashley got into a harder side of life. She got into drugs, addiction. Eventually, she got into crime as well. Unfortunately, crime caught up with her, and Ashley, had to pay her dues with the law. So the law caught up with her, and she spent some time in prison. Now we're fast forwarding 5 years later to today, where Ashley is 5 years clean and sober. She's coming into the Lakeland Connect studios to talk about her experience, and we're hoping to break some of that stigma behind addiction. So make sure you tune in and stick around for this really wonderful interview. We will be right back with Ashley Jorgenson in studio on the Jena Colbourne Show. Muse Inspired in Cold Lake is not your average clothing store. You'll discover unique brands like Sandwich, Papillon, Camp, Dex, Spiritual Gangster, and more. Accessorize your outfit with shoes, bags, outerwear, and jewelry. Find one-of-a-kind gift ideas and don't miss out on their monthly sip and shop. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to get inspired. Muse Inspired in Cold Lake and online museinspiredboutique.com. Good afternoon. I'm joined in the Lakeland Connect studios this afternoon with Ashley Jorgenson. Ashley is from Bonnyville and has a very interesting story that I really wanted to get out there into the world. Ashley, you and I know each other from bumping into one another, figuratively speaking, at the gym, and we got to talking and I heard about your story and I really wanted to share it with our viewers today. So I think it's best if I just get right into it. Thank you for coming into the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start off 2014. You're a mom, you have some young kids, and your life changed a lot that year. Can you tell us about what was going on in 2014?
Yeah, definitely. So I can't really say that it all started in 2014. Kind of came as a big shock. Life kind of hit me straight in the face, and I really didn't know how to handle it. So let's rewind the tape a little bit before I moved to Bonnyville. And my younger years, I had some ups and downs and challenges in life, and made the wrong choices and got into the streets and drugs and all the rest of the stuff that goes with that. And when I became a mom at 19, I made the decision to put all that behind me and become a mom. I then had purpose, right? So fast forward, I moved to Bonnyville, Alberta, and got a home, met a man, had a couple children, worked hard, and lived the typical normal life. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, life just kind of hit me square in the face, and I didn't know how to handle it. And when I say it hit me, it was like, not only did my past catch up with me, trauma that I had never dealt with, kind of running from or pushing down. I had a lot of loss going on in my life. So in 2013, I didn't know how to deal with all that loss. I went from having my own home, having my 3 children, working oil field job, and having a typical happy normal life, to losing my oldest son's father, to losing my job, to losing my home, to losing my relationship. And it all happened like a domino. Like it was like one after the other, after the other, after the other. And I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to hold it all together. I think the final straw was when I had purchased a home outside of Bonnyville, there, south of Fort Kent. It was a private sale, mm-hmm. But I put everything into that. So everything that I had worked hard for years prior, I put into that home, and then it was just gone. Then I didn't have that home anymore. So in 2014, close to 2014, without that stability and foundation to provide for my kids, it was like I just kind of lost control, lost the ability to help myself, let alone my children. And I mean, I guess you can only do the best that you know how with what you have. And I just didn't have that, the tools to deal with everything that was going on. I ended up drinking. That's where it started. It was, and throughout my life too, I can remember coming home from work and being like, oh, I've had a stressful day. It's been hard. I'm going to have a drink. Mm-hmm. Or maybe things were good and I was like, I'm going to have a drink. But normally with stress, that's just how I dealt with it. I'm like, it's been a hard day. I'm going to have a drink. When all that was going on, in my life, it was like that's what I knew how to do. I didn't know how to ask for any help. I didn't know how to say I needed help. Like I didn't know really where to turn. And then with the loss of a relationship too, I lost myself. I think I couldn't deal properly and manage life normally like normal people. And so I resorted to drinking.
Well, you say like normal people a lot, but I do believe a lot of quote unquote normal people struggle in the same way, and they turn to outside forces to help them. So I think a lot of us can relate to that and say, hey, I've had a stressful day and I went and had a drink. And I think a lot of people relate to that, and they hear these stories and they're going, yeah, I've been there as well. But we saw over a course of a year from there, your life drastically changed into 2015, where your name started popping up on Lakeland Connect here under some news stories.
Yeah, I think one bad decision leading to the next bad decision. And I mean, I think I briefly touched on it when I was in my younger years. I got involved with drugs when I was a teenager, you know, thinking that those were completely behind me and out of my life. It was just that one bad choice to use that drug. I know that I don't believe that anybody wakes up and says, I'm gonna go and, you know, ruin my life and affect everyone else that loves me and hurt them, and, you know, just kind of have that screw it attitude. So, yeah, as much as it came to a surprise to everyone else, it was a really big shock to myself after all said and done.
So when you're in the midst of your worst of times, when you're heavy in addiction and, you know, you're living a life of crime essentially, were there moments where you're like, I feel so helpless, I need to get out? Like, were you self-aware of what was going on?
So self-aware, there were times where it was like, I didn't even know who I was. You know, looking in the mirror, I didn't know who that person was. I remember who I was. I remember what I had. I remember like wanting just so badly to have the life that I had and be that mom that I was for my kids. And I just didn't know how to get there. I didn't know how to get back there. I know there was a time that I was like literally at the end of it before I went away, I was praying to God, because it was like, I'm either gonna die, or like I'm not gonna make it out, you know? And I believe that option, that was the only option left. I had at that point lost everything else in my life.
So your prayers were answered in a way that most people wouldn't see as a positive. You were eventually, the law caught up to you. Eventually you had to stand for the charges you were accused of, and you saw that as an opportunity to get out of the life that you were living.
It definitely was a rescue, absolutely, and a surrender all at the same time. I never woke up ever wanting to do or planning to do those, you know, those criminal actions that I did, the fraud that had happened, and the rest of all the things that go on behind the scene that nobody sees or nobody talks about. Yeah, it definitely saved my life. Sorry, it just brings me back to that humbling moment, because it was my only escape. That was it, or I was gonna die.
You had pled guilty. And from last I looked, it was around 56 charges that you had pled guilty. You did spend time in prison. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that was a big wake up call for me. Pleading guilty to the charges, and then some. It was a relief to be done with it. I know while while it was going on, it was like I lost who I was. I didn't even know who I was anymore. But I had this spiritual awakening, and it was before I had gone away. And I came to a point, like I said, where I was done. I was praying to God without even knowing that I was praying to God. And He saved my life. And I believe that 100%. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't get rescued.
Well, let's look at today. You're clean and sober. What are we looking at? How many years do you have?
It's just over 5.
Congratulations. Definitely not easy. I also want to congratulate you on being courageous enough to move back to the town where you had to face these charges and come back to a small town, which we all know with small towns, people talk. I'm sure that wasn't easy for you to come back to Bonnyville.
No, it wasn't easy, because there's so much shame, right? But at the same time, you just need to really face the music, right? You have to be accountable for things that have happened, that I did, and face the music, and not let it define you as a person. Because I know, and it's shaming, and it really is, because I'm definitely not proud of the things that I've done or the choices that I had made. I'm definitely proud of who I am today and the things that I've overcame, but to come back to a small town and where you made a mess, and have to hold your head up high, and it's hard. Yeah.
I strongly believe that the shame element is what holds a lot of people back. Being 5 years sober, can you give us any advice on how you got there?
Well, God, I'm going to say, He saved my life, 100%. And working on self. One day at a time, I got here. One day at a time. There's not one easy answer for that. I think about programs that I had to do and to learn about myself, to love myself, to learn about what it is that drives a person to drink or to use, or dealing with the things that people don't really want to talk about, like trauma, and just loving yourself, being your own hero. At the end of the day, nobody's going to do it for you, and easier said than done. Though I think it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do is overcome addiction, to get through that. If you look at the statistics on addiction, how many people come out of that, there's I don't know, maybe 3%. That's not very much.
And part of your sobriety is giving back to your community. I know in the past you worked as an addictions counselor, and you're still involved in that counseling role on a different level.
Yeah, that feeds my soul. It's about giving back. It's about helping the next guy in line, and it's about letting them know that they're not alone. I've been there too. I've done that. That doesn't mean that you need to continue to keep going. There's another way out, not to give up. It's really hard, because when you're in that dark place, and I say it's hell, it really feels like there's no way out. And so many people lose their lives and their souls to it, because, when you're in that addiction, your spirit and your soul, it leaves you.
Do you have any advice for someone who may be struggling today and it's kind of on the fence, how do I get out of this?
Pray. No, yeah, that too. I really believe that. I believe in the power of prayer. Reach out. I think addiction, whether it be drugs or food, you're going to isolate. It isolates you from people. There's that disconnection. And that connection needs to happen. Asking for help, it's a hard thing. For the people who are ready and who want to get out, and they don't have that family support, not everybody has that. So if you don't have that support, then you're left alone. So it's like, there's tons of resources out there though. There's NA programs, there's AA, there's 1-800 numbers, but it's just about reaching out. I think that's the hardest part. You know, not everybody has to go down that same story of like getting arrested and going to prison. Most people that go to prison, they don't usually come out and make better life choices. They kind of get lost in the system, and then they go back and they do the same thing. There are programs in there that can help you make better choices and, you know, turn things around. But unfortunately, they kind of get lost in the system and it doesn't happen.
Ashley, I'm really hoping that your story will help break some stigmas behind addiction and behind even the hidden addictions. Right now during COVID, I noticed stats of addiction cases rising. There's overdose cases rising. I even have friends who have discussed with me how their drinking has risen. And I know with you, you said drinking was kind of the stepping stone into harder level drugs.
Yeah, it seems to be so socially acceptable, and it scares me even as like our young children, as they get older and they're hitting their early young adult ages and having a drink. And it's, you know, they used to say that marijuana was the gateway drug, and I really feel like that it's more the alcohol, and it's so socially acceptable that it almost becomes like the norm, or it's okay, right? And with what's going on in the world today and having to isolate, the higher suicides, the higher mental health issues that are going on. And yet I'm not sure why all the liquor stores seem to be the last things that are left open. You know, that doesn't make sense to me, but knowing, especially like we say the dads, like where women have an easier time to like pick up a girlfriend and call and talk, we're wired that way. And that stigma with men, where they got to be strong and they have to hold it together and they have to be that rock, you know, they need to know that they have a place to turn to too, you know.
I wanted to touch on the kids a little bit, because you said when the kids are going out and they're having their first drink, and I don't mean kids like children, I am talking about older teenagers, young adults, when they're having their first drink. I'm sure you've experienced that with your own children. And is there any lessons that you want to pass on to them? Are you trying to get them away from alcohol? Or are you letting them into that journey themselves?
So I've gone down that road with my son, and I will with the other two as well. Fortunately, it's not something that he likes. And I'm sure if I would have been that parent that said, you're not allowed to do this, you're not allowed to do that, and tried to control that whole atmosphere, that he would have been more likely to want to enable him to do it more. In my experience, I've been actually quite lucky, where I haven't had to deal with my son and drinking, like with my children anyways.
Yeah, it's definitely, like you said, more socially acceptable. And it's hard for people when it comes to alcohol. It's hard for even myself when you're planning to get together when we're allowed to, or even to, in a sense, self-soothe with alcohol, and it's so socially acceptable.
And it can be so can be so damaging though, right? There's like that fine line, I guess, where one can have a couple drinks and not overindulge.
Did you notice when it was just alcohol and you were an older adult, did you notice like, hey, I might be teetering over the edge? Like, did I know? I guess that transition period,
right,
where it's like, this is socially acceptable, alcohol is socially acceptable, and then getting into drugs or getting into heavy drinking. Was there a moment where you were like, oh, I feel like I'm walking a fine line here?
No, I seem to be the last one that saw that. Yeah, it was everyone else, like my family, that would be concerned, and I'd be like, oh, I'm fine, everything's fine. But I was the last one to realize that I had a problem, you know.
Is there anything you would like to say to people regarding the stigma behind addiction?
That nobody wakes up one day and says, I'm going to ruin my life and ruin everyone else's life that cares about me. And so with addiction, it's like, it's not just the selfish addict that's hurting themselves and everyone else. They affect like the whole family, the community, let's say. And I really feel that if you just love that person and not hate on that individual, it's going to, and it might be hard to do, but in just my own experience is that an addict already hates themselves and hates what they're doing with their life, depending on, I mean, in my situation anyways, and how far and how bad it got. And behind the scenes, like in this small little community that we live in, there's so much going on, but it's all behind the scenes. Like you don't see what's going on in our community. But I would just say that have compassion, have some empathy. It's to love one another instead of to hate one another. And it's hard. I get that because an individual is, not at their best doing what they should be. Addiction is, it's a disease. It really is. It might not be in the beginning, in my opinion. It's like you made that choice, that one choice. But it's a disease thereafter, right? Yeah. Nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to ruin my life and I want to steal and I want to, hurt people and I want to, leave my children. I think that was like, the hardest thing. And then coming out of that addiction too is like, you gotta be able to forgive yourself and move past all the things that you have done so that you're not defining yourself for all those mistakes. Like we've all done things that we're not proud of, and not let it define you.
I think that's so important when you speak of not letting it define you, and one of the hardest things for anyone to overcome. I also wanted to touch a little bit on the tough love versus love them through it. So as an addict, you're saying, hey, we needed love and we were getting pushed away. Is that something you strongly believe in? Like if someone's loved one is dealing with addictions and they're not sure where to turn or what to do?
So there's a fine line there, like of loving and then enabling. Yes, I say love them. I say love them when they can't love themselves. I don't say enable what they're doing, and that's hard. So what's right, what's wrong? You can only really do the best with what you have. But my personal experience, there's two ways to look at it. It's do you shut them out? Are you cold? And do you let them hit their rock bottom? And more often than not, they don't come back from it. Or do you love them when they can't love themselves? Be there from afar and help them when they're ready. It's a hard. I know it as being the addict, the one who's going through the suffering. I can't imagine how hard it is for the parents having to watch and not be able to help, because that's the most helpless thing, most powerless thing that you can watch is somebody that you love and care about deeply, but you can't help them.
What are you hoping to receive from sharing your story here today?
I just want to share the word. I want to share God. I want to share, talk about addiction. I want to help addicts. I want to help other people that are suffering. I've been there and not too many people get out of it. I really want to do what I can for the next that's in line.
Beantrees Café is an eclectic establishment located in the heart of downtown Cold Lake. It's known for its rustic decor and inviting atmosphere. The cafe opened 20 years ago and has changed hands a few times over the last couple decades. including this past summer. In the midst of a pandemic, it changed ownership, and in walked Candace Ducharme with her bubbly personality as the newest owner of Beantrees Café.
What made me want to buy Beantrees is I've been coming here for years. I've always loved the atmosphere of it, the drinks, the food, the events. Everything about this place has always just given me something where it's something other than a nightclub or anything like that. It's a nice place to come and hang out with friends and just get away from everyday life and have a nice coffee.
There was, of course, worry behind taking over a business in such uncertain times.
There were definitely fears. I was definitely a little worried, as I think anybody would be buying a business in general. COVID obviously is that extra step where you're a little bit extra cautious and worried. But I've always believed in Beantrees. I've always believed in everything about it. People love this place. They've loved it for over 20 years. So I figured, you know what? I don't see this place going away anytime soon, even with COVID.
Soon after getting the keys to her new business, Candace was faced with governmental capacity restrictions and shutdowns due to the pandemic. Following a 6-week in-restaurant dining lockdown, Beantrees is open again, although they aren't able to host the events they became known for pre-pandemic.
Well, the biggest struggle right now is we obviously have limited capacity. We can't have as many people in here. We can't do the events that we used to be known for. We can't do our trivia nights. We can't have live music anymore. Things that people used to like to come out and enjoy that you can't have anymore because of too many people in one area and whatnot. I think once restrictions get lifted and once things get eased, we can start bringing that back. For right now, we still have, a great clientele of people that love to still come in and have their coffee and hang out. And eventually we want to bring back all the events and everything Beantrees was known for.
I'd say the biggest difference with the pandemic is all the little extra things that we do to make sure that everyone is safe and following all the protocols, just the little things, extra cleaning, extra health precautions, and making sure we wear our masks when we're preparing people's food and gloves and those kind of things, just the little things.
Danielle has been working at the cafe for 5 years and recently was promoted to manager. She's a baker at heart and prepares all the cakes, including Beantrees' famous carrot cake.
It's actually really fun. I am just a self-taught home baker. I started when my daughter asked me to make a birthday cake when she was 3 for her that I couldn't find anywhere else, so I made it, and it's kind of just become a hobby. And before I started at Beantrees, I'd never made a single cheesecake, and then we actually had an order that didn't ship one time, and we were going to be short on desserts, so I gave making a cheesecake a shot, and they ended up turning out really good, and now I do them about 6 to 8 a week.
Due to the growing popularity of the desserts, Beantrees has branched out into selling full cakes for special occasions, as well as making cookie kits for people to take home and decorate themselves. A lot has changed due to the pandemic, but Candace is confident Beantrees will continue to be a popular destination for Lakelanders.
COVID has definitely been a lot more, I think it's affected a lot of businesses, not just restaurants, but everything. We've definitely seen a decline in a lot of things. Obviously, not as many people can come dine in anymore. Our space has been limited to less people, that kind of stuff. But the biggest thing I've noticed is people still want to support small businesses. So there still has been a lot of that happening, which I'm really grateful for.
Beantrees has shifted to offer curbside pickup and online ordering. You can contact them by calling 780-594-4177 or order online at beantrees.ca.
My favorite part of Beantrees, there's a lot. I'm lucky that I work with a great bunch of women. They're all adorable and sweet, and I couldn't ask for better staff. I've just always loved the atmosphere here. To me, it doesn't feel like coming to work. It feels like coming to your favorite hangout spot where you get to just have coffee and just relax all day.
I'll just step in. Hey, it's Jena, and I'm down at Home Hardware with some tips on gardening with the gardening expert down here at Home Hardware, Twila. You've been working in the gardening section for a little bit of time here at Home Hardware.
Yes.
So you know some tips and tricks of the trade. Today I was hoping you could share with us some tips for those new time gardeners.
Well, I said the first thing I would say is it's a good thing to get started in. It's a wonderful pastime. It's also very rewarding. My biggest idea that I would give to new gardeners is to start out a little slower and not go into too much of a big expense and a big bunch of plants. Start off with a few and kind of get your hands in the dirt and just see how things go. But it's also very rewarding.
Well, I know there's still snow on the ground outside, so some people are thinking like, what, you're gardening already? But the trick is to get started early and do your seeding.
Absolutely. Rule of thumb is to kind of start your seeds about 6 weeks before our last frost. And around this area, it's usually the May long weekend. So we do have a little bit of time. If you do start them a little bit later, that's also fine. They will do very well. You don't want to start them too early because they tend to get quite leggy if they don't have enough light. Light is a very big thing with seedlings, so you have to have the right amount of light. We do have lightings for starting plants, and there's a few different options that we can show you when you get here. So yeah, start off with your basic seed starter soil, which is a lot lighter than your ordinary potting soil. So the little plants have lots of room for the little roots to grow there. And yeah, we've got all kinds of different things. Come on in. If you have any questions, we can help you out. The seed packets, we have a lot of them. There's a lot of information on the seed packets. I won't go into that today, but if you have any questions, come in and we will show you. It'll show you like your how many days to germinate, how deep to plant the seeds, how much sun it needs. If it's an annual, which means it only comes up every year, or it comes up once a year, or if it's a perennial, which will come up every year. So there's a lot of little tricks, but come on in, we will help you out to the best of our ability.
One thing that's really popular right now is the home gardens, and I noticed like directly behind us, Home Hardware does have some of those home starter gardens.
Yes, we do. We have a few different options for the little mini greenhouse. So it's got your trays, it's got your lid, it's got the light in it. So everything that you need other than the seeds and the dirt to get started.
But you can get that all here.
Right here, right here. We will help you out and get you well on your way to having a wonderful garden.
Well, thank you so much for the tips of the trade for gardening, Twila.
Thank you.
We will be back at Home Hardware once a month with different home items, different ideas that we'll be giving you. So make sure you keep it right here on Lakeland Connect on the all-new Jena Show. Thanks, Twila.
Thank you, and we look forward to seeing all you new gardeners.
That was perfect.
Thank you so much for joining me for the premiere episode of the Jena Colbourne Show. I really hope you enjoyed yourself and you learned something new. Come back next Wednesday. We are going to be live here at the Lakeland Connect studios every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Next week, it's going to be a really fun show. We're actually taking a look at health and fitness, and we have a really amazing guest who's going to be on the show. I will keep that a secret for right now, but our business spotlight and our guest both focused in on health and fitness. So make sure you guys come back next week, Wednesday at 2 o'clock, right here on Lakeland Connect for the Jena Colbourne Show. Thanks for watching.